are we really supposed to take him seriously against a prime Gunther?
Welcome to the Pin Down, the Sports Illustrated Pro Wrestling Show. Kent Brown and Gene Chery coming at you. It's mid-June. Plenty to talk about in the world of pro wrestling, and we're going to go through 3 counts. The first count, we're going to talk about a guy who's been the biggest star in pro wrestling the last decade, but his absence is starting to be known. Roman Reigns is not around right now. We don't know when he'll come back. So, Gene, I'm going to throw this out to you. Is Roman Reigns' absence hurting the WWE right now?
It's hard not to say, man. Roman Reigns is the biggest star in the WWE. When the man walks into the room, you feel it. And the fact that we haven't seen him in some of these major storylines, especially with Seth Rollins and the last time those guys interacted, it hurts. And as a fan, you're wondering, when are we going to see Roman? I hope it's soon, but it's hard to say that we're not missing Roman Reigns at this moment in time.
You look at his year, so he had the triple threat, night 1, WrestleMania, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, came back the Raw after WrestleMania whenever the vision was formed and we didn't quite know the name. And now you look at Roman Reigns, he's out of the picture. Seth Rollins is lurking. CM Punk could be lurking. A heel champion, John Cena. So let's discuss, when does he come back? When is the right time? Because remember last year, he took some time off post WrestleMania 40. Cody beat him. He came back for SummerSlam, became the babyface, new entrance theme, took out Solo Sikoa. It would be kind of weird if he comes back at SummerSlam again for the second straight year. But you almost feel like a 2-night card. You need Roman Reigns anchoring one of those nights, right?
It's got to be SummerSlam, right? Like, the guy has not been around. Last year, we didn't see him until SummerSlam. It's looking like this is going to be an annual thing for the next couple years. He's one of the top dogs in the company, and not seeing him for so long, it has definitely hurt. I hope we see him sooner. And like you said, it's a 2-night main event. We have to make sure this guy is on the program.
Here's the issue, though. You have Cody going after what will most likely be John Cena's title. Doubtful he gets thrown in that. You have the whole Gunther situation. I don't see Roman Reigns fitting in there. And then you have the whole CM Punk, Seth Rollins stuff. I doubt you just throw back a triple threat and make it the same as WrestleMania. So my question is, when Roman Reigns comes back, who do you match him up with? Is it him and Seth Rollins in a non-title match? Is it him and CM Punk one-on-one, which we would love to see, but then that kind of means CM Punk is probably not in necessarily a title picture himself. There's a lot you can do with him, but I'm just not sure right now. If he comes back, I don't think he's instantly in a title picture.
I disagree, my guy. I think you almost have to put him there. And the only reason I say that is because of one man, John Cena. If you're talking money, John Cena versus Roman Reigns for the final time, to me, that spells big bucks. The way WWE's been booking Cena on this title run, they're having him literally knock down every one of the top stars. So if I'm Roman Reigns, if I'm WWE and I'm booking Roman Reigns, as soon as he comes back, we'll deal with Seth Rollins later. We'll deal with CM Punk later. But John Cena, his time is literally winding down. So it might not make sense, but I could easily see leading up into SummerSlam, hey, I want one more shot at that belt. Give me Cena. And then we get Roman Cena main eventing night 2 of SummerSlam.
I can see that happening. And frankly, that's probably the best way to go if you want heel Cena to get one more big win before Cody takes the title back. Who else to do it but with John Cena, more than likely with the help of the Vision, being able to beat Roman Reigns? Because one-on-one, Cena, I don't see him winning that one-on-one, but we've seen heel Cena at this point. He's happy to get some interference. He's happy to get some love from other heels. And that would set up to be a great night 2 main event at SummerSlam. Let's now go to the 2 count and talk about the other title picture, and that's the world title picture. Gunther is the new champion. He won it back last Monday night against Jey Uso. And now the Saturday night's main event in July in Atlanta is set. Gunther comes out, cuts a promo, and we hear Bill Goldberg's music. Goldberg comes down to the ring in his 50s with the gray goatee. He still looks like Goldberg. I'll give him credit on that front. So it's not like he's not a menacing guy. If you walked up to him in the street, you'd still be a little bit afraid of him. But are we supposed to take this title run seriously if Gunther has to sweat another match against what you think would be an inferior opponent, because he already had the Pat McAfee match at a pay-per-view. He's now going to have Goldberg at a Saturday night's main event, in which Goldberg is about to cash in the senior citizens portion of the Denny's menu. I think it needs to be a quick defeat, but I have a feeling we're going to get kind of a tough match out of this. I'm happy it's happening. This is a good send-off for Goldberg, but I don't think Gunther should even have to sweat this one.
Nah, I'm not happy it's happening, man. I'm not, man. Yeah, he looks like Goldberg, but did you see this dude almost snap his ACL trying to get onto the top rope? I'm not buying it, man. Here's the guy, Goldberg, nearly 60 years old. He's had 5 matches since 2020. He's lost 4 of them. Are we really supposed to take him seriously against a prime Gunther? And this is a bigger picture with Gunther, man. I cannot understand how they're booking him right now, man. You just mentioned he's wasted time with Pat McAfee. What story did that really tell? All right, you put the belt back on him after beating Jey Uso. Now you got him facing Goldberg, which to me, I don't know what it does for him, whether he wins or if it's a tough match. So you're telling me you're gonna put him in a match with Goldberg where he either squashes Goldberg or it's gonna be a competitive matchup between 2 guys that shouldn't even be in the same conversation. To me, I feel bad for Gunther. I think he could be booked a lot stronger as far as having that world championship. This isn't an intercontinental title shot, right? This is the world heavyweight championship, which Goldberg just came up and literally just inserted himself into a main event spot with no backlash from Nick Aldis. Adam Pearce just came in and said, hey, I'm fighting you at Saturday night's main event. It is what it is. I'm interested in this match. Am I excited? I can't say I am.
Yeah, it's one of those deals, and that's a good point. I didn't even think about the fact that he's not even on the active roster. He shows up, demands a title match, and there's not a little, well, hold up a second. You got to at least beat somebody first, where like next week on Raw, you fight Braun Breaker. And if you can beat him, then you have a title match. No, it's, you know what? Okay, you earned it. You're Bill Goldberg. You're a Hall of Famer. And this becomes kind of the bigger question. And this is where Triple H, as a booker, I do think we love Triple H in general. He's done a great job. But as a booker, there has been a little bit of this picture with Gunther where you brought it up a couple weeks ago. As an IC title run, it was great. He had a lot of big matches. Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, guys that were, you believed in those storylines. As a world title picture, it was a little finicky. There weren't any headline matches until Jey Uso beat him in Vegas at WrestleMania 41. Now it's Bill Goldberg who's getting this shot. And you have to start thinking, is it a little bit too much where the veterans are getting too much of a push on this card? When you look at this roster and you have a guy like a Karrion Kross that's demanding, just give me a chance to be on TV. You have so many superstars have given the shot they could be and excel in this run. And here's Goldberg, not even on the roster, shows up to a ring, says, you disrespected me in Atlanta a few months ago, so now I get a title picture. And it's just, okay, main event, Saturday night's main event, Goldberg. It is a little bit odd and frankly, probably not the best way to go forward. I hope this is the last of what we're seeing with all of this going forward.
Hey man, you're being kind about it. Let's take it a little deeper, man. This is money wise, we get it, right? Bill Goldberg is the bigger draw. He's, like if you're looking to sell, you want to bring more eyeballs into the business, you bring in a guy like Goldberg. Makes sense. I think as fans, I don't think we're asking too much to say, can this just make a little more sense? Can this guy kind of have to earn it just a little bit before we just throw him in the main event? You guys just throwing something at us? Like, I know we haven't mentioned AEW, but I think one of the biggest differences between WWE and AEW is the fact that WWE takes time to tell a story so the fans can get invested. There is no real connection between this Goldberg and Gunther, aside from the fact that Gunther insulted him months ago. Like, if you didn't watch that episode, you have no idea why these guys are beefing. Or if
I watched it, I barely remember it, to be honest.
If you're a kid watching for the first time, who's this Goldberg guy? He just comes in and just face Goldberg for the title. Like, I just saw John Cena sell his soul to get a world title shot, against Cody Rhodes. And he was this guy just coming in saying, I got a title match. I think it's also fair to tell you just a little bit. But at the end of the day, this is entertainment. I had very low expectations for this matchup. I hope both guys make it out of this match safe and sound, because I saw Goldberg walk down that ramp, man, and it looked a little rough, bro. But we'll see what happens.
So we grew up in the era where Goldberg started becoming a big star. Obviously, he had that 100 and plus wins without a loss until he became world champion.
Yes.
He went to WWE. The first go around wasn't great, where him and Brock Lesnar were booed out of the building at WrestleMania 20 because everyone knew neither of them were long for the business. Brock Lesnar was leaving, and of course, Bill Goldberg was not in it for the long haul either. So here's my question to you. What is your favorite Goldberg moment, favorite match that he's had throughout his entire career?
Well, if I'm thinking of WCW, I loved, I believe it was Halloween Havoc 1998 against Diamond Dallas Page. You had two baby faces. These guys were both on the top of the mountain at this point. It was an excellent match. And I remember specifically seeing it on Nitro that Monday night, because the night before it cut off because it went overtime in the pay-per-view. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, we got to see the full match between those guys free on national television, which was amazing. But yeah, to me, that match was sick because I love DDP, I love Goldberg, and I didn't care who won at that matchup, but it worked out. It worked out.
I'm going to go with Survivor Series 2016. He had been gone for a while. Brock Lesnar was coming off being pretty much unbeatable. Everyone was skeptical about this because the last time they faced was that infamous WrestleMania 20 match where it was not well received. And Goldberg just crushes Lesnar. Spears him right out of the gate, spears him again, puts him up, finishes him 1, 2, 3. The match was just a few minutes long. And what it did was it at least gave him the credibility of, okay, this guy's not just a one and done, and he actually can beat a few people. Of course, he ends up being world champion, and then the next year he goes to WrestleMania and gets Lesnar again. But to me, that just stood out because it was unexpected. And as wrestling fans, we love storylines. We love things that we don't expect. And for Goldberg to come out, in which many of us thought would be a 5-minute match the other way, and he just, I mean, Lesnar never got one offensive move outside of a quick, he put him against the ropes, in which Goldberg pushes him back. And then it's a spear, it's over. I just thought that was a cool moment. And it basically made him, in my opinion, a WWE guy in addition to WCW. Because up until then, everything he did good was in WCW. And now it gave him credibility of, okay, this guy might actually have a WWE run in him.
Well, now my question for you is, do we think we see something like that happen on Saturday night's main event? If you're bringing in new eyeballs, hey, I haven't seen Goldberg in, 10 years. I'm seeing him on Saturday night's main event squash a guy like Gunther in 3 minutes. To me, I don't think the match is going to be long. So you're either going to have Gunther beat Goldberg handily, or Goldberg, we get a Survivor Series replay. And to me, that is, you're playing with very dangerous substances right there. I don't know. What do you think?
Man, if he does it, then I just think you just ruin Gunther for this. Like, even if he gets the title back, because that would now be a loss at WrestleMania back-to-back years. That would be a loss to Goldberg. Even though he's been a champion most of his time, he would be remembered as being a bigger loser than, in my opinion, a winner. I think he has to win the match. At the end of the day, even though the McAfee match probably went on 7-8 minutes too long, at least he won the match. For Goldberg, he has to leave champion on Saturday night's main event. If Goldberg wins that match, clearly they're setting up a SummerSlam world title match. But to me, this is his send-off in Atlanta, his hometown. Have him wave to the crowd, or his family comes into the ring afterwards. But as a loser, as Gunther walks his way back into the back area with his title belt held strong. I can't imagine that Gunther loses this match. And let's now turn to our third count and go to what was really just a sad state of events on Monday night. Liv Morgan gets injured in her match against Chery Sane. It was evident, we had Nikki Bella on the show last week, it was evident they were working towards an angle at Evolution, either Liv Morgan versus Nikki, or more than likely a world tag team match where Raquel and Liv Morgan were going to go up against the Bella twins. Liv Morgan goes down. She's now out with a freak shoulder injury that's going to keep her out for a couple months. What did you think about what transpired? And now, what do you do with this Evolution pay-per-view coming up, and knowing that the Bellas and Nikki Bella probably going to have to pivot and come up with something quickly?
Man, my heart broke for Liv, man. You could tell as soon as she got into the ring with Nikki a couple weeks ago, you could tell there was a fire in her. Like, okay, here's my chance to show why I belong in this main event picture. You set me up with a Hall of Famer. I'm going to seize this moment, and we're going to tear the house down in whatever fashion. Now that she's out, you're kind of like, damn, man, like this hurts, because who do you put in that spot, right? Like, she was gonna face, yeah, we know Nikki was on the way, but she also called out Io Sky. So you saw WWE had major plans with her, with Nikki, with the World Championship. So who do you put in that spot? Because to me, I think you mentioned it a couple weeks ago, as Liv Morgan, one of the most underrated superstars on the roster. Now that she's out, you kind of got to put that energy into someone else. Is it a Roxanne Perez? Is it a Stephanie Vaquer at this point? But someone's going to have to step up in that spot. My heart breaks for Liv. She's a great worker. You could tell she's found her voice behind that microphone. And yeah, just bad news. Injuries happen, but the timing of this couldn't be worse for her.
Yeah, the one thing that I think she'll do a good job of is, and Dom was able to do this when he was banged up, if you're already that heel and you're over, you can be hurt and still show up on TV and sell your angle. But now I think the Roxanne angle has to come back, where now she's trying to work her way into Judgment Day. Raquel's a little bit upset. Maybe somehow, some way that becomes your makeshift tag team champions, in which they're not even happy to be together, but they know they're good enough to keep those belts. Something like that, where Liv now is injured, but still in the picture, because when she comes back, she has to be ready to step right up to the front of the line. As you said, she opened Raw with the Io Sky angle. Then she had a match later, and it was evident they were going to push her probably in the main event at Evolution, which comes up pretty quickly. That's only a couple weeks away. That's the day after Saturday night's main event in Atlanta at Allstate Arena. So we wish Liv Morgan the best. We think that when she comes back, she'll be right back to where she needs to be. But in the meantime, Triple H and the booking committee, they probably had to work a little overnight to come up with where do we go next with this women's storyline. And that's one thing about wrestling, as you said, injuries happen. It's part of everything. But now with the Bellas, where do you go? If you were the booking committee here, where do you go with Nikki Bella? If Brie Bella comes back as rumored, how do you set them up? Because clearly they were shaping up to have a big match at Evolution, and now they're going to have to at least change things a little bit.
Hey, man, I'm pulling out all the stops. I'm bringing out the checkbook. I'm bringing back Trish Stratus. I'm bringing back Lita. And I'm having just a Legends tag team match to open the show. You bring back the 4 Hall of Famers. You bring them in, and then you go right there. That's how I do it. I think you want to mix in Charlotte. Hopefully Bianca Belair is healthy. You got to do something to get – if you're going to bring the Bellas back for the first time in years, you have to set them up for success, especially at a pay-per-view as big as Evolution. Nikki Bella, she headlined the first Evolution. If the plan is to make her headline again, you have to put her with a big dog. Maybe it's Charlotte. But for me, personally, I would bring back Trish, Lita, if they aren't already involved already, and then you try to do a program to just bring nostalgia to the forefront.
Well, that's going to do it here for the Pin Down, our pro wrestling show at Sports Illustrated. Kent Brown and Gene Chery, for all the wrestling fans out there watching. If you know, you know, and that's why we love pro wrestling.